Hey guys, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you here with me and with us. Welcome to Taco Tuesday. It's been a while. Please take a seat. I'm not going to speak for 5 minutes. You know, it's a speech. But you can leave whenever you want. No one's forcing you. If I'm bad, I'll know why everyone's not staying. Hey, welcome. Okay. So today I want to, first of all, say to myself and to everyone that's here, welcome. Welcome back. I missed you. It's been a while, and I'm so glad to be here right now. I'm sorry I didn't say hello to you yet because I was just with the baby and I ran while Shira ran back in the car. We quickly, thank you. And we exchanged changing of the guards, like they say in England. So we did that, and then I'm here, and really excited to start Taco Tuesday again with all of you, and also really excited to host our big Shabbats again very soon. We're currently doing small Shabbats, so if anyone wants to come, like within the next few weeks, then it's only small every week, but we'll eventually open up again to our full Shabbats as well. And that being said, we're really excited for a lot of new initiatives that we're working on, of course. High Holidays is coming up. Really happy to have so many people here and so many people taking initiative and helping us run this event. I didn't even do anything besides for bring my camera to listen to myself. It's like weird, whatever, but I still do it. And everything else you guys did. So thank you. Thank you to our board. Thank you to everyone that's here. I don't want to say some names because to Noah, Drury, yes. To our amazing board, to Jamie that's now helping us as well so much, and to everyone that's here. You guys are awesome. Our family is a mishpacha and you are part of it. And you should, if this is your first event, you should know we really are a special family. It's different. It really is. It's our home. It's our family. It's something special. So actually, that being said, I want to talk a bit. I don't have that much time. Gen Zs. Actually, not most people here not, but whatever. I don't have that much time till TikTok rings the bell. But I do want to speak about chesed, kindness. And it's something that really talks to me, something I grew up with tremendously in my home. And it's something that I really believe in. And the reason why I want to speak about chesed a little bit is because we're now going into the month of ELUL, which is then the month of High Holidays, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. And the rabbis say that if anyone wants to change his future and say, okay, whatever, my depression of the past is the past, or my anger of the past is the past, not feeling good enough with myself was the past, today I'm going to change. Yesterday, Hakuna Matata, it's all over. And someone's singing the song. But tomorrow is a new day, and that's it. Okay, so how can I own my future? And the rabbis say that there's 3 things we need to do in order to change our future, at least until Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Things that we need to do if we want to really start seeing change. Does anyone know what they are? Torah study, yeah, well, that's an easy one. But yes, kindness. Well, that's my class. Tshuva, which means, what does that literally mean? To return. To return. Where are you returning to? Okay, so people say to me, it means coming more religious. And I say, well, we need to redefine what that word means, because I don't like the words, are you religious now? Are you more religious? Are you coming? I don't like this conversation. It makes me feel like, well, because I'm religious, first of all. But really, the reason why I don't like it is because who says I am more religious? Is that what you're labeling it by? By my kippah size? Or the style of clothing that I'm wearing? That's it? That's not more religious. There's some people here in this room that respect their parents way more than I do. Although I do respect my parents a lot. I'm sure. I do respect my parents a lot, but I'm saying, I don't live with my dad and my mom all the time, so I'm not able to. I bet there's people here that are greater at kibud av va'em than me. There probably is some people that are greater at chesed than me. There's someone that once came into our house and told me they have been looking after their sick dad since they were a very young age. And it was around 15 years already that they've been looking after their sick. Wow. Kibud Avayim and chesed. Much more than me. Those are real mitzvot in Judaism. So when people use the term of like, so you're more religious, do you know what it means? It means, on the outside, you look more into like that group. Okay, in some ways, it's good to define yourself and know what you are a little bit, but that's not how you define whether someone's more religious or not. There are many commandments in Judaism. It's just the ignorance that makes us say that someone's, the external is what defines you. Okay. But anyway, when it comes to chesed, that is one of them. If you want to change your future, own your future, the rabbis say, be a little more kind. Another one, do teshuvah, which means return to yourself, which means don't do something that doesn't resonate with you. If you're returning to your inner self, that means it really resonates. It's not, I'm part of a cult. I'm doing this because my mom said or my grandma said, although there is a beauty in listening to those that are older than us or those more experienced than us. But that's not the reason why I'm doing it. The inner reason is I'm returning to my inner self. Does that make sense? Like someone who says, I want to do Shabbat more. And his parents are fighting with him saying, why are you doing that? That's too much. It's extreme. It's not extreme. It's me returning to myself, meaning I understood the beauty of Shabbat. I'm finally spending time with my inner self. I didn't put them out. But I'm spending time with myself and I find the beauty in it. It resonates with me. That's why I'm doing it. If something resonates me, it means it makes me happier, it makes me more peaceful and calm. That's why it says that Judaism is derachea darchei noam v'chol netivotei shalom. It has to be, in order to be peaceful, in order to be Judaism, it has to be peaceful and pleasant and enjoyable. Okay, so one of them is teshuvah, one of them is tzedakah, which is chesed, which I'm going to speak about now. I've not even yet started. And the third is tefillah, which is prayer. And prayer does not mean what many people think, which is, God, I need some more money, please give it to me. Can be, but really it's one internally growing within yourself. That means you're judging. Literally the word pilel, va'ani lo pileti, or pilel means to judge oneself. That's literally what it means. So when someone goes in a quiet room and starts talking out what he really wants, he's actually questioning himself. And asking, do I really want it? I'm talking to the creator of the universe, that's true, but I'm also very deeply changing myself to become the vessel that can actually get that energy that I really want. Okay? So right now I want to talk about chesed and kindness just a little bit because it's so important and I believe that everyone here can have an amazing year ahead, an amazing tomorrow, an amazing week, if you change this one thing called chesed. Okay, let's get to the root of chesed. Does anyone know what the root of chesed means? I know we translate it as kindness. What's the real meaning of the word chesed? Does anyone know? Chas. What does chas mean? Chet and samach. Lachus al mashu. Does anyone know? It's more of an Aramaic word, but we use it in modern Hebrew also. Any Hebrew speakers? Ivrit, exact. To what?
To ebb.
Like to have compassion?
No, chesed and gevurah.
Right. Who said? To what?
Chesed and gevurah.
Right. Chesed is like a flow.
Yeah.
Right. That's true. That's the result of it is a flow. But the root of it is chas. Chas and dalad, which means to have compassion for the dalad, for those that are in pain, for those that are suffering. So it's literally chas, but not only suffering, could be someone who's lacking something. Dal means poor, impoverished, or lacking. That means there's an inner compassion that you have. It's not just to do it because other people are doing it. It's an inner, innate compassion that I have. I want to tell you one or two stories about chesed, and we'll take it to the next level. I believe that after this, people will start thinking a little more. Something that resonates with me. because it's my story with my family. And that's why me and Shira, my wife, and myself, we open our home as much as we can. Always, we try and open it more and more, even though sometimes people think we're crazy, but this is innately, deeply in us. And, some people ask me, this year alone, we have over 10 people that are getting married because of ELUL, which is pretty amazing. Isn't that amazing? Thank you. All have got married this year, either getting married or getting married this year alone. So that's really, really amazing, because people get to meet each other and we see it. We see the power in chesed, the impact. That's not just now, it's the generations ahead also. The lifestyle that they live, the future that they have, it's a lot that goes on, way beyond an act of chesed. And I think that looking back at my story, my father, he was a Moroccan man, lived in Morocco, and at the age of 13 only did he leave his parents and not see them even till after his wedding. My father did not see his parents. He moved to England. The rest of his family went to Israel, and a lot of them went to Eilat and different parts of Israel, like the far north, the far south, in areas that was not very deeply connected. Today, there's a lot more Judaism going on in Eilat, believe it or not, even though it is a party town. But it is a very Jewish community over there. But the rest of my father's family went to different parts of Israel directly. My father was the only one that my grandparents said, we're going to let him go to England. And what happened was, there was this great rabbi, Rav Shammai Tzan, who traveled constantly to Morocco and would fundraise money. And he would travel by boat a lot of the time because he couldn't afford it. And he had a family of his own. But this one rabbi from England, who has nothing to do with Moroccan Jews, he's a Polish, Ashkenazic rabbi, but made the effort because he said, I want to make a difference. And he went to Morocco, and my grandparents were very, very poor. They didn't have a lot of money at all. And that's why they couldn't even make it to my own father's wedding, my parents' wedding. And yet this rabbi came and offered my parents a scholarship for their oldest son to come to England and study in a yeshiva over there, and he'll get some good education as well as the yeshiva as well. And my father was obviously excited about it. My grandparents were excited about it, and because of that, he went to England. Imagine, that rabbi never knew. And because of that, he lived a much more deeply connected Jewish lifestyle. And because of that, I am here today, standing here in front of everybody, right? Because of my father becoming a rabbi and a big educator. He should be healthy. He's not doing so well, but I bless him. This conversation that we're having should be a blessing for him to be healthy as well. But he because of this one man's selflessness and kindness, gave my father the opportunity to go to England and became very well studied a lot and became a big rabbi. And today I'm here 100% because of my father, who was influenced by this one rabbi who brought him over to England and looked after him daily, took him as a child, literally took him on as a child. That rabbi is not alive anymore today, but he doesn't even know the repercussions of his action. It's pretty wild. So I am a result of chesed, and I believe, and our family, I grew up always in a home. It says, Olam chesed yibaneh, build a world of kindness. The world was founded and built on kindness because according to Jewish teaching, God doesn't need any of us. Although we do say God wants us, and in some ways needs us deeply, but to the essence, to the core of it, God is infinite. And an infinite being doesn't need us. And therefore, when we do something, it's not because God really, he did it out of his utter love and kindness. And that's why we're here today. So because of that, the foundation of the world is based on kindness. It says, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, and Daled, right? Aleph is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. That represents God, one. Bet is the physical world. Aleph represents infinity, goes in all directions. Bet represents this world. So the infinite being created a Bet, which is the world that we're in, which is a finite world, multiple beings. What for? For Gimel and Daled. So that Gimel, which means to give, should always be going and giving to the poor, to those that are destitute. So this world that we're in is actually the binary code of this world is 0 and 1, right? That's give and take. That's the code of this universe. In order to achieve spiritual greatness in this world, it's either you give or you take to give. You can also take by giving as well. But that's our goal. That's why we're here, to be like God. We're put in this world by an infinite being in order to be givers. And I bless everyone that's here that you become that as well one day. Okay? I'm still working on it because I'm going to show you there's many areas that chesed. We went just this week to a guy by the name Michael Carlin. We took some of our young professionals, some of the board, and we had a private dinner with a guy called Michael Carlin. He's been a donor. You were there. Show off. So Michael Carlin is an amazing, amazing person, and we were so amazed by his humility. And he's a business manager for Van Halen, Drake, Timberlake, Beyonce, and many more. He just went on with a list of names. So I was amazed by how humble this man was. He's sitting in front of us, and he was so humble, just talking to us, about his life. And then came his message. What was his message? He started his business with Van Halen. And it started because he went over to him, gave him his business cards. You have to have a bit of chutzpah. But the thing that really made him get his business was his kindness. And he was a guy, and he said, if you're nice, it will come back to you. They will market you. They will promote you. The people that you are nice to are going to promote you more than anyone else, because people are going to go over to them and say, hey, is he good? Is he trustworthy? Is she trustworthy? So chesed comes back. That's why our rabbis say that chesed is one of the things that you see the reward in this world, not only in the next world. Because it's not only a religious thing, it's a logical thing. When you give, people say, wow, I want it. I want this guy. He's selfless. People say, the term, oh, it's the system. Have you heard that? People say it's the system. I don't like the system. It's all the system. People use that term, whether you agree with it or not. I don't know about this medicine or that medicine. It's the system. Or the government, they're part of the system. They're all trying to break us down. Or we start talking about, there's a bunch of stuff that, it's the system. Have you heard that term before? Anyone here? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Okay. So, the food, it's got all this stuff in it. It's the system. They're trying to break us down and make us get destroyed. There's like a whole conspiracy. Amazon, the big companies, Google, right? The big company, Google, yeah, they're trying to, it's a system that they're trying to take over on us. I'm not here to judge who's right and wrong, but what I do know is this. I know that there's one way to beat any system. To prove that you're not part of any system is chesed, selflessness. When someone goes out of his way, against his nature, and he says, I will do this for you, even though I don't have to, for free of charge. What? You're going to give me the time of day and help me free of charge? You're going to give me a dinner and sit with me? You're not part of the system. The greatest way to prove that you're not just following the flow is if you are selfless. No company and no government is telling you to go against your flow, to go against your nature. Okay? No one can stop you from going against your energy. They say that the way that you know if a fish is alive is if it goes against the flow of the river, of the current. If you go against the flow of the current, you go against your instinct, you are proving greater than anybody else that you are not following anybody, and that's selflessness. My friends, that's how you achieve it. I want to share with you a story of someone from Manchester, actually, who started a company, a very big insurance company called the Reich Insurance Brokers. And they are big until today, big company, and it started before just after World War II. And we know a rabbi in New York who's a grandchild of this person, and I grew up in Manchester in the same town as the person that started this business. And I want to tell you how this business started. Rabbi Naftali Reich is a friend of ours. We've taken a few of our groups in the past, especially when we were in Oregon, to the Yeshiva Or Sameach in New York, which is amazing. And he told us about his grandfather, who was called Yehuda Reich. He had a textile business in England before the World War. And during the war, the entire warehouse, he had multiple warehouses, were bombed by the Germans, and there was nothing left. And after the war, he decided he's stopping with his business in textile. He wants to move to something else. And he decided he wants to move. He tried one or two different things. Eventually decided, I'm going to move into insurance. And the reason was because he was always giving money to insurance companies whilst he was owning his textile business. He said, you know what? I am going to open my own insurance company. And that's what he decided to do. He opened his own brokerage. But it wasn't easy. No one was taking him, and he was having a very difficult time. And he remembers this guy, Mr. Hassan Lambani, who was from Libya and an owner of a big textile firm in England. And he worked with him. He used to work with him. And he asked him, he said, you know what, I'm going to go over to him. He was a good friend of mine back in the day. I'm going to ask him what company he uses for insurance and if he'll use me from now on. And he goes over to the guy. He gives him a hug. He says, oh, I remember you. How you doing? And the guy, Mr. Reich says, Yehuda Reich says to him, please, which insurance company are you using? Can you use my insurance company? And he says, listen, I'm already in the bank. There's a guy, the bank manager there in the Westminster Bank. He is the guy that's running my insurance, and he's using an insurance company called Marine Insurance. This is after World War II, just after World War II. You can go to him and see if he'll use your insurance instead. But it's nothing to do with me. I'm already using him. You can go speak to him. So this guy, this young Jewish man, Yehuda Reich, goes to the bank and he decides, let me try. He goes up to the guy. Where's the bank manager? He meets him and he says, please, I would love to be the insurance broker for Mr. Hassan Labani's textile firm. So the guy says to him, who are you? A new insurance company? Please, stop wasting my time. Get out. And he kicks the guy out, embarrasses him in front of the entire bank, kicks him straight to the door. And this guy, this Yehuda, Jewish man, Yehuda Reich, walks out embarrassed and ashamed and goes. After a few months, he says, you know what? I'm going to go back. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm going to go back. Plus, the business is getting a little better. I'm sure he'll be in a happier mood. He'll be willing to take me and listen to me. He goes in again, and true, the guy was in a better mood, but he says to him, listen, I'm sorry. I already have using this company, Marine Insurance. I don't need you. Thank you very much. So Yehuda Reich this time, as he's about to leave, says, here, please take my business card. Puts it on the table before I go. And as he walks out, the guy says to him, I have to read this. He says to him, are you related to Elazar Reich? I want to tell you the names. Are you related to Elazar Reich? And he says, yes, that was my great-grandfather from 1907. He died many years ago. How do you know him? And the banker says, as an older man, he says, I was a little kid, and I started working in this bank. I never left. And after a few weeks, I felt like everyone was treating me like dirt. I want to leave. I'm done. But your great-grandfather sat every day here and was helping immigrants open new bank accounts. They couldn't speak English, and his English was good. And he would sit in the bank helping people open bank accounts. And every day I would come to work, I would see him, and I'd say, I can't leave him. There's so much to learn from this man. So selfless and so kind. I want to stay. That was your grandfather? Okay, you know what? Deal. I'll take on your insurance. And that's how the Reich insurance brokerage started. Isn't that amazing? 2 generations later. Kindness goes further than you, way further. There's a saying that when you open an apple, you know how many seeds there are inside of it. But when you plant the apple seed, you never know how many apples will come out of it. This one man did something good, didn't even know, but he's going to help his great-grandchild that today is still benefiting from that business. That business is still going on. I know the family. In Hebrew, the word for giving is noten. Did you know that that's a word you can read both ways? That's called a palindrome, right? Where you can read a word both ways. Why? The Baal HaTurim says, V'natenu, when you give, you get back. It's reciprocal. Don't ever think that when you give to others, whether it's time or a smile or something outside of just money, including money, it comes back to you. V'natenu, money comes back. Okay. I'm going to tell you this. Listen to this. This is the business strategy that I was talking about. Listen, this is a Pele Yoetz. This is a book that was written about 300-400 years ago. And he said like this. This is mind-blowing. A person that has been blessed with any form of wealth, that means even good looks, right? Or anything else. You've been blessed, Nathan, I'm talking to you. So anyone who's been blessed with anything, some form of wealth, it's not only money. How will he be praised with his wealth? The answer is with the chesed that he does with it. Mishpat v'hadstaka v'halva'at chen v'chesed. The way he judges people, the way he's kind to people, and the way he gives. Basically, a person that leaves this world it never writes on his grave. And this, by the way, happens in big Jewish communities. They do this. V'yikneh gam ken kelei tashmish. A person should buy different tools that people might need. Make a little shop, a lending shop. That things that people might need to borrow. And that person will constantly get blessings in this world and the next world. Because every time someone borrows something from you that they need, they will say, oh, that guy is so nice. Just get it for free of charge. There's something, by the way, in the religious community, if you go to Israel or even in England or different areas, I think there's like a directory here also that you can do this. But there's a gemach. It's called a gemach, Gemilut Chasadim. It stands for Gemilut Chasadim. And it's people, different families that are on a list, and they are willing to give out different things. So there's one family that gives out tables and chairs for events. There's another family that just lends out gardening material and different, just random stuff. And everyone's doing that because they're bringing a lot of blessings into their life. Because every time someone comes to you, they say something, and trust me, those words are valuable. Okay, so that's a great idea that actually has been incorporated in our community today. And easily, a person that does this can get this world and blessings in the next world as well. And he gives different, in those days, people used to trap lots of animals in order to eat. That's called, whatever, some kind of, what would it be called? I don't know, fishing nets maybe. So that was a thing that people used to lend, he says. And that way, he will get many blessings from the person that borrows him, and God will have to listen to that blessing. Beautiful. Okay. I want to tell you another idea as well. Where does chesed start? Where does chesed, kindness, really start? With yourself. And then with people that are close to you, family, friends, and then maybe with others. But it starts within. That's why it says that after Shabbat comes, you're meant to have Havdalah, and you're meant to make that cup overfill. Do you know this? You bring bracha into your home. When you make Havdalah after Shabbat, you fill the cup of wine, you make the blessing, overfill it a little bit. Why? Because Shabbat, you filled yourself with spirituality. Now let the blessings spill out to the community. Right? Once you bless yourself and your family, and you put some blessing in you, then that can overflow. You can't overflow a cup to others when it's empty. How can that work? And that's why kindness starts deeply within. Okay? So the greatest place to start with kindness is within. Question, if you are dating, what's the first thing you should look for in someone outside of their looks? If they are kind. Good values. How do you know good values? If they're kind. My friends, what happens if they are putting on a great show? How do you see if they're still kind? Isn't that what everyone's meant to do? Put on a good show?
Put on a bigger show.
Okay. How do you know if the kindness is real? Yes. Yeah. Oh, you weren't going to say something? Did you? Oh, if you feel? Oh, if they feel that they have empathy? Okay. But maybe they're just like, oh, that's so nice. I care for you only because they want to marry you. Because they really like you. And that's why they're saying that. How do I know it's truly authentic? I wrote, go on, what? Right, the way they treat others. Good.
If they split the bill.
They split the bill, okay. First date? First date or second date? First date, split the bill? Any girl agree to that? That's it. I spoke about dating, I'm done. Here, guys. I've got some ways. Listen to this. If they are listeners, that's also kindness. Listening is kindness also. If they give compliments to other people, not only you, okay, to the garbage truck, or compliments about the weather, or anything, just positivity. Because if you're not positive about others, how do I know they're going to be positive about me as well? Okay, so how they approach your friends, family, and people, like you said. Seeing chesed in others. Oh, this is very important. If you see kindness in the world, then you are going to give over kindness to others. But if you think that this world is a hateful place, then what happens? You're going to give over kindness, right? If you know that people are going to steal from you, will your wallet be hidden more? Right? You'll be more afraid to take out your money. The more of an unsafe environment you're in, the less of a giver you can be, by definition. It's impossible to be a giver in an unsafe environment. The more safe the environment is, then the more of a giver you can be. But a person that starts thinking in his life, wow, God is so kind to me. He's given me health today. He's given me the ability to walk. He's given me that's filling your cup. Because you're seeing all the kindness that's coming your way. Oh my gosh, my family are awesome. I know that they're annoying and this, that, and the other, but that part I'm not going to look at. I'm going to look at the positive side, right? Because there are always positive things. If I fill my cup with the chesed that they throw at me, then my cup is being filled. So that means that I can overfill the cup to others. So guys, I've given you tips to give a great show, right? Just constantly be positive, give compliments, and also show how kind God is to you. But it's very hard to play that show, I must say. If somebody is real, then you'll see it. It's very easy for them to be kind directly to you. Oh, let me open the door for you, right? But yeah, at 5 years after marriage, come on, can you not open the door yourself? You know? That doesn't work like that, right? Kindness is not only at a show when you're dating, you know, when you're acting like a nice, you sit down, when you date, you sit down, you get a meal, you know, you sit down, fork and knife. Who's eating with their forks and knife? You know, you get the chicken, you take it out, wings. I'm just joking. But when you're dating, you're acting all very nice, but once you start being real, then things change. Yeah, that's in details, but I will tell you that there are other areas outside of the general stuff that we do, like opening the door for someone, or, you know, the way we sit with someone. There's basic things that you can see if this person is kind or not. Like, for instance, the way they talk about other people, the way they compliment other people, the way they see their life. Are they complaining all the time about their life? That is a very important sign. And by the way, I'm not saying that you can't have a conversation with someone and they're telling you about their problems, right? Because if you love someone and you want to hear their problems too, and you're okay, you're comfortable to hearing their problems. But there's a difference between discussing your challenges and complaining. There is a difference. And it's heavy. Complainers can be heavy. It's a drain. It's repetitive. No matter what I say or listen, it's never enough. It's always, right? That's another sign that the complaining is something beyond just complaining. So chesed is really an outcome of seeing chesed in your own life. That's what David HaMelech said. Achtov v'chesed yidufuni kol yemei chayai. Good and kindness is chasing after me all my life. He was suffering a lot. But he chose to see the love and kindness that he was facing every day. Listen to this statement. David said like this. Wow. He said, a bad person has lots of problems. An evil person always has problems. He's very busy with his challenges. Oops. V'abotech b'Hashem chesed yisavavenu. But someone who trusts God is constantly surrounded by kindness. Why? Not because he's not going through the same problem. Sometimes you are. But a person with the right hindsight, this is what the Malbim says. A person with, who's a kind person? A person that constantly focuses on the positive side. If he's focused on the negative things, he's not able, he's too busy with his challenges or her challenges to be able to be kind also. I'm trying to survive. You expect me to also give something to others, give time to others? The only person that can do that is someone that is righteous, that starts trusting God and says, it's fine, I want to see the good side of life. I'm not going to see the problems, and I'm going to choose to see the good things. And through that, I'll be able to give to others. Okay, I'll tell you two more stories and then we'll finish. There is an idea also that when we give tzedakah, when we are kind, it says, tzedakah tatzil mimavet. That someone who gives charity and is a giver, he saves himself from death. Yes?
I thought that in Judaism, like charity or tzedakah doesn't really come from kindness. It comes from tzedek, which is righteousness.
So there is a good question. Rabbeinu Yonah says like this. Chesed is a form of kindness, but a much greater form of kindness. That's why I'm using the term chesed. Why? Because tzedakah specifically is about money. Okay, that's specifically, it's like the word charity. It's literally about money. Chesed is beyond money. It's also by giving time, by smiling, by teaching someone, by visiting the sick. Maimonides gives a whole list. And it's all under the mitzvah of loving your neighbor, your friend, like you love yourself. Okay, it's all under that category. Okay, so that's like a general word, chesed. But the actual specific tzedakah is about money. Okay, well, you can talk about it a bit later. But I do want to go into these two stories. Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. When someone gives, you are saving yourself from death. Why? Why is that? What's the logic behind it? If you give, you save yourself from a lot of suffering as well. Does anyone know? Well, what happens when you give? Are you going against your nature or with your nature? Against. Your nature is, I worked for this. In Hebrew, one of the names for money is damim, blood. Because I sweat my blood for this money. I killed myself for this money. I want it. So your nature is to take, like when you're born, you put your finger on a baby, I'm talking from my own experience, and the baby goes like that, right? But when a person leaves this world, you leave like this. So the way we come into this world is we want to take. And that's our nature. Going against your nature is to give. So when we go against our nature, according to Jewish teaching, then God goes against his nature and says, it's true, maybe now's your time, but I'll give you another 50 years. Why? Because you went against your nature. Yeah, you're going to ask something?
Tzedakah is some sort of sacrifice.
It is a sacrifice.
Holiday, you gotta kill a chicken or
It is a form. The rabbis say that chesed is like offering a sacrifice, yes. The rabbis do say that in the Talmud, that when you give, it's greater than many forms of offerings that you might do. This is the greatest offering, because you're offering some of yourself. Beautiful. Okay, there is a story. This is mind-blowing. In 2007, there was a family, the Foreman family, and they live in New York, and every single year, they go in the winter to Orlando, where there is a nice, good weather. My brother lives there, just saying. And every year in the winter, they go with a bunch of families. Few families go together every year to Orlando. They rent this place, and they have a great time, and that's what they do every year from New York. Okay, they escape the winter. And one year, they went, like every other year, with another family called the Wagner family. And the Wagner family had 4 kids. The father was an EMT and Hatzalah member. So he's a paramedic, and he helps do a lot for the community. And he came along with, because that's the family that always goes every year. And he was on his way down the stairs. Everyone's hanging out. There's a game room. There's a pool. And all of a sudden, there's a shriek. A little kid is lying flat in the pool. And he knows straight away when he hears that. Izzy is in the pool. A 2-year-old boy is lying flat in the pool. He jumps, runs into the pool, pulls him out. CPR. And the kid gets his breath back, goes to the hospital, and they manage to stabilize him. He gets saved. So as soon as the family gets back, the Wagner family gets back. It is hot in here. But as soon as the Wagner family gets back and the Foreman family get back to New York, they make a massive celebration called a Sudat Hoda'ah, a celebration of thanks to God that the young child survived, and they made a huge celebration. Listen to what happens. The Wagner family is sitting there, and Mr. Foreman stands up, and he says, I want to thank this family, Wagner, for being here, and I want to thank God, because if not for them being there, at the right moment, going down the stairs, Mr. Wagner wasn't there, because it's a big place, and he was coming down the stairs right by the pool area. If not for him being there, no one else is a paramedic, only him, no one would have known what to do, and the child would not have survived. Every second counts. Mrs. Wagner stands up and she says, I want to say something even greater. This year, we were thinking of not going. We said, we can't afford, our business is not going well, 4 kids, and all of us flying to Orlando, it's too much money, we're canceling our trip. We're not doing it this year. And somehow, Mr. Foreman called us up and says, I heard you're thinking of not coming. I want to pay for you and your kids. And the whole family, I'm paying. It's on me. There's no such thing as you can't afford it. You've been coming every year. This year you're coming again. Mrs. Wagner stands up and says, I thought he was kind to us, but it comes out he was even kinder to himself. That is the epitome of the teaching. Not only does charity save a person from death, but it comes back to you. V'natanu, when you give, it comes back. So that is the story. There's a famous story in the Talmud of Rabbi Akiva. There are many, many stories of chesed that have saved people beyond. And that's why, as a Jewish people, we believe that when the power of the Jewish people, what's our history? It's chesed. How does that work? Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. People say, how? Why are the Jews so into themselves? People have told me that. The Jews only look after their own. I've been on a taxi, and the guy was going. He was going at the Jews. And I'm like, I'm pretty... He didn't care. He was at it. And he was going on. They only care about themselves. They own Hollywood. They own this. They own that. And the fact that they only care about themselves, that triggered me a little bit. Why? Because it's true that Jews have always cared a lot about themselves. But it spreads just like the cup. When it overfills, it spreads out beyond themselves. Do you know why the Jews look after themselves? Because if we didn't, we wouldn't be the powerful Jewish people that we are. But it's because we are a tight-knit. You start with your own. Aniyecha kodmin. You start with your own family. Yaseh shalom aleinu. And then, Ve'al kol Yisrael. You can't be a power people if your people are not strong within, or you can't be a power person if you are not strong within overflowing. Rabbi Akiva, the story of the Talmud. In Shabbat, the Talmud says an amazing story. Stargazers, astrologers came to him and said to Rabbi Akiva, at your daughter's wedding, she is not going to survive. We have this vision in the stars that a snake is going to kill her. And Rabbi Akiva was worried, but didn't say anything to his daughter, and waits for the day that his daughter get engaged and married. And so it comes, the day comes, and his daughter's about to get married. And he knows in the back of his head what they said, but doesn't say anything. Comes the night of the wedding, nothing happens. At the end of the wedding, the daughter of Rabbi Akiva takes off her pin from her hair. They did that back in those days too. Pokes it into the wall because she didn't know where else to put it. Boom. And it happens to be, it went into the eye of a snake that was in the wall and kills it. And the next day she comes back to get her pin. And as she pulls it out, a dead snake comes out with the pin. And Rabbi Akiva, wow, my daughter survived. He goes up to her and he asks her, did you do anything special yesterday? And she tries to think, and she says, maybe I had someone that was here at this wedding. Everyone was busy with the wedding. But there was one guy, poor guy, that came into the hall, uninvited, in the back. And in those times, people were hungry. There wasn't a lot of food. And she said, I gave my portion over to that person. I walked over to him, and I said, you take my portion. By the way, I don't know if she had that custom, but there is a custom to even not eat on the day of your wedding. So she may not have eaten even on that day. But she gave over her portion to that person. And the rabbis say, because of that, Rabbi Akiva went out and announced it. Tzedakah tatzil mimavet. Charity can save a person from death, not just in theory, but literally, physically. When you give, you don't even know what you're giving yourself. You'll never see it directly, but it will come back strongly. Whether it's in dating, or in business, or in work, or in life, when you become a giver, you get so much more. And that's what Rabbi Akiva said. And he said it actually on the idea that en mazal leYisrael. Does anyone know what mazal is? Luck. We translate it as luck. Mazal literally means flow. That's for you. Anyway. So mazal literally means flow, which means luck. And that's how we translate it, but it means flow. And basically what it means is that everyone's born in a certain month, a certain time of the year. Makom, Zman, Lashon, it stands for those three things. But you have a certain energy based on the day that you were born. You have a mazal, you have a time, and that predicts for you how you're going to be, and how strong you're going to be, and how successful you'll be, and how long you'll live. But the rabbis say, En mazal Yisrael, we're above mazal. We're above luck. There's no such thing as luck. You know why? Because we can do tzedakah. If you want to be beyond luck, then the way to do that is to give over of yourself. Like we said, when you sacrifice of yourself, God will sacrifice for you also. That is a deep, initial spiritual belief of the Jewish people. The greatest sign that you are on the path of spirituality is if you're a giver. Chesed, kindness. So my blessing to everyone that's here is that you become that person. You become a giver. There's an amazing, just to show you the power of the Jewish people. There's a family that was driving from, I'll finish with this. I'm telling you, I'll finish with this. So there's a family that was driving from Montreal to New York. Listen to the crazy, right? New York, Montreal in the summer. A lot of Jews are traveling between the two places. So there's a family driving from Montreal to New York. An hour in the drive, the son gets a call from the other son that's still home. in Montreal. And he says, did you take all the keys? The other key of the car is by you also? I can't find the key anywhere. And all of a sudden, he says, yes, I have the key. Oh, that means we have to drive back for another hour, and we still have another 10-hour drive. We can't do this. All of a sudden, he realized, I have an idea. He goes to the other side of the road, does a U-turn on the, not a U-turn on the highway, but it goes out the highway, goes on the exit, comes back the other direction, stops on the shoulder, opens the hood, and makes as if there's a problem with the car. Within 3 minutes, another Jewish family stops on the side. And they say, is anything wrong with your car? Do you need anything? He says, no, actually, there's nothing wrong with my car. But I have an extra key that I need to take back to Montreal. Are you going back to Montreal? Yes, of course I am. Can you take my key back to, yes, no problem. And that's how he took the key back to his brother within no time, without having to go back. That's the power of the Jewish people. It says the sign of the Jewish people is 3 things. Baishanim, they are bashful. It's good if you're a little shy. It's beautiful. It makes you special. Rachmanim, you are merciful. You have care for animals and humans and beings. You care. And, I should have said humans first, but whatever. And then, Gomlei Chasadim. And also, Gomlei Chasadim, you are people that are kind. Those are the 3 signs that you're a Jew. If someone is cruel, not shy, in the open, and not merciful, we would question their background. That's something that we would do. We'll be like, wait a second, something's going on. Isn't that crazy? That's, obviously we wouldn't directly nowadays do anything about it, but that's just the innate sign that you're a Jew is those 3 things.
What was the third?
Being kind. Gomlei chasadim. Okay, so Baishanim, bashful, merciful, and Gomlei chasadim. By the way, sometimes you should not be bashful, like ask questions if you want to know more, right? En habaishan lomed, a shy person can't learn. There are times where you should speak up. But for the most part, being humble and bashful is a good thing. Anyway, yes?
Are you taking questions?
Yeah, sure.
There are a lot of people who give great tzedakah and perform acts of chesed, but they do it for the wrong reasons. They do it to get their name out
Right.
there. They do it to seem charming and helpful. Yet, if you're giving $1 million to charity,
It's beautiful.
you're still helping a lot of people. So, if you are doing it for recognition or to get your name on a plaque, does it negate the chesed that you're doing, or does it just make you seem like a little bit of a douche?
So let me answer that question, okay? So it's no. The rabbis say that a person should always le'olam yasok shelo lishma. A person should always do things not for the right reasons, because if you wait till it's the right reason, you'll never do it. Okay, so even if you're motivated to give $1 million because someone's going to look at you, great, you're doing a mitzvah either way. But there's a difference. Because you've not achieved yourself becoming a kinder person. Do you understand? You've not become a Baal Chesed, an owner of kindness. You did it still in order to have a good name, which is great, and it's still a mitzvah, but it's not actually innately transformed you. The real moment of transformation is when you do it and it actually has an impact and you become that as well. It becomes part of your DNA, your genetics. Okay, so there's a different level. And the rabbis talk about different levels of chesed, of kindness. And one of the lowest levels is when you do it for fame and for being told how great you are. Okay, so that's another idea. Okay. Anyone else? Questions, thoughts? You good? Okay. Thank you for listening, guys.